Manchester City 4, West Ham United 1. I took a bit of time to do this video today because I wanted to gather my thoughts. I wanted to just sort of like reflect a little bit on the game. I didn't want to sort of do a video in a similar manner to what I did after the Liverpool game last weekend, where, as I'm sure you know, anyone that watched it would have realised how angry I was, how disappointed I was at the way we set ourselves up, the way we played, the tactics, the line-up, the whole thing. And for this game, what I wanted to do was just take a little bit more time, sober up a little bit, and try and see this game a little bit differently, because I'm kind of a little bit confused, because I'm not angry. I'm actually not angry about the performance. I'm not angry at the way we played. Of course, disappointed yet again at the result, and extremely disappointed that yet again we've managed to concede so many goals against one of the top teams in the Premier League, and it's become a standard thing now, hasn't it, that we keep conceding 4 goals, 5 goals against teams like Man City and Liverpool and other teams, etc. And that, I'm disappointed, yeah, absolutely disappointed at that. But the performance has left me somewhat baffled, somewhat confused. So let's go through the lineup first of all. Areola in goal, because Fabianski was ineligible because of the head injury thing in the Premier League. Sufal started, and I was like, after last week's performance against Liverpool, I was surprised. But then, of course, Emerson, we realised, was injured. So that meant Wan-Bissaka was back at left back, and Sufal filled in at right back. Talk about Sufal in a minute. And then Todibo started. He had a half-decent game against Liverpool, and he started alongside Kilman, and I was okay with that as well. And then I was speculating what was going to happen in midfield up front. And I was pretty damn certain that Crescencio Summerville was going to be dropped. And I was really, really pleasantly surprised that he wasn't. I was really pleased to see him in the lineup. I think it gave us balance. Kudus obviously meant he was out on the right. Fulkrug, what choice do we have, I guess? I was surprised to see Paquetá play. Souček was obviously back. Alvarez was in midfield as well. I thought, given how poor Paquetá has been, not just this season, but for a long, quite a number of games now, this season and last season, I thought Paquetá would have been dropped. So I was surprised that Soler was on the bench rather than Paquetá. Okay, it was. I looked at it and I thought, no. In all honesty, that's not too bad. That's okay. And of course, we started off really, really well. We went at Man City. They're not a great Man City side at the moment. They're finding their feet again. They're for them, what an ideal game to play. Leicester last week and now West Ham United this week, and banging in 2 goals against Leicester and then banging in 4 goals against us. What better way to get their sort of season back on track than to play 2 teams that are struggling in the Premier League? And by this form, you've got to sort of ask yourself, we seem to be struggling much more than Leicester are, because Leicester only conceded 2 goals and we conceded 4. But anyway, but we started off pretty well. Mohamed Kudus had a couple of chances early in the first half, and we looked like we were going to go at them. And it was good to see. It was pleasant to sort of see West Ham United not sort of sitting back like we did against Liverpool last week, and trying to get something out of the game. And it was really good. But wasn't to be, as usual this season. We try and take our chances, but they don't come off. And when you don't take your chances, you get punished. And that's what happened to us. And on the 8th minute, what an unfortunate deflection off Sufal for their first goal. I mean, he got roasted today, Vladimir Sufal on the right. And I did suggest in the preview that I did that if Sufal was going to play, then whoever was going to line up against him was going to probably have a good day. And Savinho was the player that was put out on the left to combat Sufal, and Savinho had an absolute field day against him. But the first goal was really unfortunate. Really unfortunate that it deflected off Supal and went and flew into the goal. And weird thing to say when you're playing against Man City, but that was against the run of play, strangely enough. And that was disappointing. And it was like, oh well. And then I thought, okay, the floodgates are going to open, but they didn't. And we kept at it, and we kept trying to create chances. We were going at them. We were trying to sort of get at them, and it was really good to see. It seemed to be a change of tactic for Lopetegui to sort of say to his team, "You're good enough to be able to go forward." But the player that made a lot of that happen, that sort of drove the team forward, was Crescencio Summerville. You know, he got the ball, and every time he got it, he just went one way. You know, whereas we've been bemoaning the fact for most of the season that when we get the ball, it's playing it back, playing it slow, etc. Summerville added what we lacked, and that was pace. And we know he's got pace to burn. And it was great for him it's great to see him do that. And he was the driving force. Him and Wan-Bissaka out on the left side of our play were really good. You know, they combined well. They did really well, you know, and they were a threat. But as the first half was closing, I was thinking, get ourselves to 1-0 by half-time, and who knows? We were showing intent. We were showing some real intent in the game. But of course, I said I was going to talk about Supal, didn't I? And Supal got absolutely turned inside out by Savinho for their second goal. He nutmegged him. He was toying with him. And Savinho got a really good ball up high into the box. And now people are blaming Areola. And I know what people are now thinking of Areola. Now, you know, his distribution wasn't very good. Again, you know, he seemed unsettled. And people are suggesting that it was Areola who was at fault for their second goal. I'm not so sure, to be quite honest with you. You know, Erling Haaland was left in the centre of in the 6-yard box, completely unmarked. Everyone was ball watching. He was completely unmarked, and Areola saw the threat coming from the right side and thought maybe, you know, he was going to go out and maybe help there. So he was caught a little bit stranded. But I don't blame him for that, because when you don't have your defenders doing what your defenders are meant to do, then your goalkeeper is going to try and make a decision. And he was caught. But in all honesty, even if he was smack bang in the middle of the goal, that cross was so high up, it would never have it went high up and it dipped really fast. It was never going to get to him, even if he was in the centre of his goal, Areola. But Areola's going to be the fall guy yet again. You know, there's been a number of players this season that I've talked about who are fall guys, and Areola will undoubtedly be dropped for the next game. Do I think it's right? I personally don't, but people will turn around and tell me, well, hang on a minute, Areola has had 9 goals smashed against him in 2 games. But yeah, against Liverpool and against Manchester City. And let's be really brutally honest, Fabianski's not done much better. In fact, Areola pulled off 2 really good saves to actually keep the scoreline respectable, so to speak. You know, one shot when he was caught going the other way, managed to save it with his legs, and then a shot that was going straight into the corner, which was a superb dive and save. And we forget about Areola, what good he does. Okay, he's got mistakes in him. I don't deny that. He's not the best keeper that we've ever had, but over the years, I think Areola has proven to be a decent keeper. And if it was me, I'd still select him over Fabianski. But you know, you tell me what you think. Anyway, 2-0 going into the second half. And it was disappointing, really disappointing to be 2-0 down at half-time. At 1-0, you would have said to yourself, who knows? Let's see if we can go at them in the same manner as we did in the first half. Who knows what will happen? But then, second half, early on, Todibo got an injury. And apparently now that's a serious one. He may be out for a short while. We're dropping like flies, aren't we? You know, Antonio with his car crash. Jarrod Bowen last week against Liverpool, now Todibo as well. Emerson, we don't know how long he'll be out for and what kind of injury he's got. But Manchester City saw their opportunity. The minute Todibo went off, And it wasn't me that highlighted this, it was Wiggy. Unfortunately, Wiggy has already gone home. We were thinking about doing the video on the train, but we just were all a bit too tired, falling asleep, etc. But anyway, it was Wiggy that said it, that Manchester City took their opportunity. Change of a centre-half, centre-back, and they just went at us, and they, you know, within a few minutes of Mavropanos coming on, great threaded ball. I think it was Savinho again to Haaland, who scored their third goal, and then they wrapped it up with a fourth. And they caught us cold. You know, they caught Mavropanos cold. Do I blame him? Todibo, interestingly, was doing kind of all right. I mean, it's weird when I say that sort of thing, because when you say doing all right and you're 2-0 down by half time, it sounds odd. But, you know, it was a shame. And obviously the third goal killed it dead. We were out of the game by then. But we got a good consolation, you know, and you may suggest that at 4-0 maybe Man City let their guard down, but the build-up play for our consolation goal by Fulkrug, I think was really, really good. I think, you know, it showed that we've got that kind of endeavour. We've got that ability to create chances. And ironically, I think we had something like 17 shots. Not all on target, but we had double the number of shots that Man City had. So it demonstrated that we were trying to go for it. It demonstrated that we were. What other players? Alvarez, for me, I don't know. He's not the player that we had in the first season that he was with us. He's lost something in the middle of the park. Maybe he's a bit too frightened of getting cards now. I don't know, but it's such a shame that we're not seeing him, you know, sort of do what he did. I remember when Alvarez came and, you know, first season after Declan Rice left, and we were saying, well, we don't miss Declan Rice, we've got Alvarez, but he's not half the player that he was in the first season. Paqueta, for me, I'm hearing people saying he had a good game. I'm not too sure what match people were watching, because he was better, but again, he kept giving the ball away far too often in the middle of the park, trying these you know, fancy flicks and back heels and all that weren't coming off. Do it when you're 3-0 up, not when you're 3-0 down. And for me, yet again, I think, you know, maybe he had a better game. You know, there's kind of a standard we expect from Paqueta is quite high. You know, and when he plays poorly, you can see it. But then, you know, many people will say, oh, well, you forgive him because he's the only one that tries these threaded balls, you know, these all these sort of forward balls, etc. And if they don't come off, you forgive him for that. But today, he was better, but he's still not nowhere near to the level that we need. Souček back, captain the team. Yeah, all right. You know, he set up the goal. Fair play to him. Who else? Kudus. You know, he started good endeavour. He started off really, really well, but then he kind of fell away from the game. And then he got subbed by Guilherme. Guilherme's got nice pace on him. You know, I quite like, again, another player out on the wings. I just wonder, you know, with Bowen out and Fulkrug, right, Fulkrug scored a goal. He put himself about, but for me, he's still not the sort of player that we need. I just wonder, you know, if Lopetegui really, you know, play with the courage of his convictions and maybe start Guilherme one side, Summerville on the other, and put Kudus in the middle and see what might happen there. Could have started good endeavour, but he fell away and then he got subbed. But for me, you know, it's a close call between, you know, which was the best player on the pitch between Wan-Bissaka and Summerville. But I'll go for Summerville because he was just, every time he got the ball, he went forward. He was looking to go forward. The number of times he got clipped and fouled and all that to break his stride, you know, which it was really, really disappointing. But there you go. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that we've shipped yet again, you know, 4 goals against the team. And now that's 40 odd goals in the 20 games that we played so far this season. You know, if that's the way we're going, then we're going to be shipping more goals by the end of this season than we did last season, which is not good. Our defence still has got a lot to be desired. The sort of the play in the middle, you know, the midfielders to sort of protect our defenders is still not good. You know, we played better today. We played better overall, which is why I can't be really disappointed. But then you've got to look in context of all the other games that have been played so far this season, you just got to say to yourself, it's just overall, it's not good. I don't know what the board are going to do now. I don't know what's going to happen with regards to Lopetegui. You know, there's rumour apparently that he will continue to be given more time. I don't know how much more time has to be given because it's not clicked yet. It's better. Today was better. There's absolutely no denying that today was better. But if 4-1 defeat is better, then what's bad? You know, that's the dilemma I've got here. You know, it was better, but yet we lost 4-1. David Moyes was in the crowd. You know, obviously that's going to spark speculation. Everybody saw the photos of him that he was watching the game. Of course, people are going to start talking and suggesting that maybe Moyes has just been looking at just taking over. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen, to be honest with you. I was told quite categorically earlier in the season that there's no way we'd go back for Moyes for a third time. But who knows? You know, we're not desperate yet. It's not a desperate situation. But I'd just like to see what other managers, head coaches can do with the squad that we've got, because I think we can get more out of them. I don't think the defence is great. I still think we've got issues there. But overall, you know, the way we're setting ourselves up, we're too exposed at the back. You know, so many goals conceded. And I've got to I've been starting to ask myself, you know, we put an awful lot of blame on the likes of Mavropanos and Todibo. What about Kilman? Is he a £40 million central defender? And did we pay £40 million purely because he's an English player? And if he'd have been playing in, I don't know, Spain or Italy, etc., maybe we would have paid 15, 20, 25 million for him rather than 40. English players demand a bigger fee, don't they? You know, the clubs that own them demand a bigger fee, which is why, you know, the whole issue about being linked to Evan Ferguson from Brighton is the same thing. You know, if he was a player in Spanish league or Italian league or whatever, or French league, people would be asking for 15, 20 million for him. But because he's in the English league, he's a British player, all of a sudden everyone thinks that, or Brighton think that he's worth 50, 60 million. It's ridiculous. But it will be interesting to see what another manager, another head coach can do with this team. I don't know at this stage if Lopetegui's going to go. I don't know. You know, we got the cup, FA Cup against Aston Villa. We lose that, then that's it. Our season's kind of over, isn't it? You know, it's just damage limitation and see where we end up in the Premier League. Do I think we're going to get drawn into the relegation zone? I really don't. And I know a lot of people say, well, you're deluded still, you know, if you think we're not going to get dragged into the relegation. Not yet. You know, because ironically, because of the way we performed today, gives me a little bit of faith. But my God, our defence, you know, as a whole team, not just as the defenders, but as a whole unit, we've got to get better at defending. Anyway, I'm sure I'm going to have more reflections when I do another show on Sunday. Have a good evening, everybody. Well, what's left of it, and I'll see you all soon.